Here's the interesting thing. The interesting thing about Kamala's Jamaican background, y'all. Her Jamaican family, like I said, her father, to me, he clearly has some type of black Jamaican in him, but he also does descend from Irish slave owners, and whatever the name of the parishes that they come from. And the most interesting thing is the town that they grew up in, that her father's family is from, is called Smithtown, I think it's called. Smithtown, Jamaica. This town is named after the Irish slave owning ancestor. The town that her family still lives in to this day is named after her family member. Her entire family on her father's side are landowners and they are business owners. So it's not like she come from Kingston, some one of these impoverished parishes out there. It's not like she's from Tivoli Gardens somewhere in Jamaica, been through the trenches and nothing. Her family are landowners and business owners for generations, going back to their great-great-grandparents, all the way going back to that Irish slave owner. So, in the Caribbean, they did things a little bit different than how they were done here in America. In America, if you were the child of a slave owner, you was just another nigga. You'd be right out in the fields picking cotton with everybody else.
Exactly.
You might be a house slave, some of the later ones. You might have been a house slave here and there, whatever the case may be. But some of the house slaves got the worst treatment. You know what I'm saying? The people that were inside the house, up under these white supremacists all day long, they got some of the worst treatment. Those were some of the main runaways. Those were some of the main ones revolting and burning down the goddamn plantations and all that. The ones that were living in the house were some of the main ones doing that. And so in Jamaica and other places in the Caribbean, they did things a little bit differently because a lot of times the plantation owners, they still lived in Europe. They would travel to the Caribbean. And so when they would be going back and forth on these voyages, they needed to leave people behind that could run the plantation for them. That's where the mulatto children came into play. So when they had these mulatto children with their bed wenches, literal bed wenches, when they had these mulatto children, they would treat those children like family. Those children that's how they got all of these color cast systems out there, where that's why people use all this bleaching cream and shit, because the lighter you are, it's not just like over here when they talk about colorism. The most thing you get out of being light skinned over here is probably you're a higher choice in the dating pool. You got a lot of niggas out here that prefer light skinned women. You know what I'm saying? And light skinned niggas be having they run, when the DeBarges was hot and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Light skinned niggas be having they run. Light skinned women, they get more media shine and stuff like that, But in those societies, there's actual benefits and privileges that come from being lighter skinned and having finer hair. You're actually a higher ranked citizen in the caste systems over there. So it comes from that, going all the way back to slavery with those mulatto children, while the slave owner, the plantation owner, was back in Europe handling whatever business they had to handle back in Europe. Those mulatto children were there to run the plantation. They were the overseers. So they felt like they were part of the family. That's why they have such an affinity to the queen and all of that shit to this day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we saw that when she died.
Right. So her family, her father's family comes from that. They got some black in them, yeah, whatever, but they come from that mulatto class. They are higher up on the caste system, and we know this because of their economic status. They're landowners, and they own the same land that the slave plantation owner owned. It's called Smithtown. That's where her whole family is at to this day. Smithtown. Y'all go look up what I'm saying.
And they ain't smoking like that in Smithtown.
They still own the businesses out there. They still own land out there. They're growing produce and stuff like that out there. They're producers. They're in the producer class. You know what I'm saying? So they didn't just come over here. Her dad didn't just come over here dirt poor with 2 nickels to run together, and just came up. No, he came from a privileged citizenship class in his homeland, where they were able to send him over here to a prestigious school, like what was it, Princeton that he went to? I think it was Princeton or one of those Ivy League schools that he went to study economics. He became an economist. You know what I'm saying? So either way you want to slice it, she ain't like us.